Alrighty, let's see what we got today. There ought to be 3 expansions. I see Empires, Dark Ages, and what am I missing? What's that is Charm Brum? That's Empires, right? It's not that. Ah, I think we have another one of those days where it was drawn from a pool of 3 expansions, and it just so happens that only two ended up getting, or only cards from two ended up getting picked. So we'll never know what the third expansion was meant to be. Okay, so Bandit Fort and Tomb. Draw looks quite limited. There's only 5 copies of Encampment in the pile. The bottom half of the pile is the Plunders. Bustling Village is the bottom half of the Settlers pile. This is the castles in order. You could, in theory, have a lot more than 5 copies of Encampment because Overlord could play Encampment. So imagine you just had 10 Overlords and you chose to play them as Encampment. That interaction actually works out pretty well because you wouldn't even need to have a gold or a plunder in your hand to reveal to the encampment. The Overlord plays the encampment from the pile, and then even if you don't have a gold, the encampment that's already in the pile tries to return itself to the pile, and then doesn't matter. So that's just straight up +2 cards, +2 actions. The problem is, if you buy a million Overlords and your opponent just buys the actual encampments, this interaction shuts down once there's no longer any encampments in the pile. It has to play a card from the supply. So if there's no encampments in the supply, it can't target encampment anymore. So I can imagine getting an Overlord or two, playing them as encampment early, but you're probably going to need to get a few encampments for when that interaction disappears. Encampment's also the main village. Bustling Village, also a village. Trashing is Altar, and plus buy is Charm. Altar also gains things. Okay, yeah, so it seems like the goal is getting Altar early, and then I think the encampment pile is going to be the most important pile. Plunder also looks better here than usual. I would say normally Plunder is maybe marginally better than gold on average. Sometimes worse than gold. Like in context where there is a remodeler, Plunder costs 5, gold costs 6. But here we got Bandit Fort, which is a pretty good reason to want Plunder over gold, and encampment's important, so you're going to want one of those 2 cards. I think that's the main thing going on. In general, it does not look like the strongest kingdom. First instinct is just to open Scavenger Silver. It seems like a reasonable way to hit 5. Overlord, unfortunately, can only play cards costing up to 5, so it can't play Altar directly. If there was a 5 cost strategy, you'd probably just open with Overlord. Uh, I mean, Beggar could get you to 6 more efficiently than Scavenger could, but at quite the cost. That's probably not correct. I think I'm just going to open Scavenger Silver. The bot takes an Overlord. Interesting. Okay, unfortunately, I have hit 5, which is not 6. I can top deck the silver, and hopefully we'll hit 6 next turn. What I buy here. I don't want to buy an Overlord, because I'll go into debt, which potentially interferes with me hitting Altar. Presumably either Charm or Mystic. I like Charm, I think. Plus buy means you can pick up encampments more quickly. It's going to hit 5 over and over in the kingdom where hitting 6 is actually the number. One more Charm, I guess? I mean, Mystic has some minor synergy with Scavenger. You can play Scavenger, tap deck something for Mystic. Uh, that only works at the moment if I also have an Acropolis in hand. I'll take a Mystic. God! This is painful. I'm hitting exactly 5 every single time. Normally that would be lovely. That's, oh god. Frequently what you're trying to get out of the opening is hitting 5. But here all I want is 6, and I just can't manage it. Just gonna buy a Humble Castle so I can trash the Hobble for free. I think the only card that benefits me to draw here is Charm, so I wish for that. I'm hitting 6 either way, and there's no need to get something good off the top if I'm discarding my deck anyway with Scavenger. Okay. Let's go ahead and take a Plunder and an Encampment. Not in that order. So the bot's already getting Plunders. I think I'm gonna hold off on playing Encampments because I think these are gonna be kind of necessary cards to hang on to. It's the only draw. I'm already behind on the split 3-2. Take a Settlers, I guess. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna lose this game. The Kingdom is super straightforward. The bot's doing the same thing, and those early draws were just not cooperating. I got to alter way too late, and I've lost both the Plunder split and the Encampment split, and there's not really a whole lot else going on in the Kingdom that's gonna compensate for that. I'm probably gonna need to buy gold at some point, just because I've only got the 2 Plunders in the entire deck, and that's not gonna be pretty. There's really nothing I want here. It's like an Overlord, I guess. It's a flexible card. Okay, that was a good draw. Unfortunately, I've seen both my Plunders. Uh, if I'm lucky, I find like Necropolis plus Scavenger and can top deck one of the Plunders so the other encampment is a target. Perhaps that's being a bit over optimistic. Crumbling Castle kind of hurts here because you gain a silver involuntarily. So let's take another Mystic. Settlers. Yeah, once again, I don't even think did I play the encampment? I 100% lose the encampment because my only 2 Plunders are down there in the discard pile. I don't even think that's worth it. Let's let him do it. Overlord down here. I'm not sure it's worth drawing. Like, what is the Overlord doing for me this turn? Could play it as a Settlers and then hit some really big number, but I'm not sure why I would need to do that. Let's for a copper. Yeah, there's the Overlord. I'll leave that on top and top deck an altar. I'll take a second altar. I do want to trash a bunch. The bot has trashed 10 cards already. Or no, it hasn't. I was looking at the number of victory points, but it's way ahead on victory points, and part of that I think is it's trashed more, but the other part of that is it's just playing Plunders more often than I am. Either way, it's not good. Happy to have a Plunder on top. I really don't know what my win condition is here. The longer the game goes, probably the worse off I am because the bot's got the majority of the Plunders, and those are gonna rack up points. So probably I've got to go for provinces, which I'm also behind on. I'm behind in points, which would normally be an indication that I want the game to be drawn out so that I have more time to catch up. Uh, but I don't think that's going to work for me either. Yeah. Man, I also need a gold, but the minus 2 points is going to be pretty significant. I think I have to do it anyway. Uh, well, at least this is going to be 8. So far behind. Once again, encampment. If I play it, I'm going to lose it. I might just have to. I mean, we're kind of late in the game. There's just nothing to be done there. Decline. And final card. Probably copper, if I had to guess. So take a mystic. Yep. I think I'd rather trash a copper here so as not to trigger a shuffle. If I trash the Overgrown Estate, I'll draw into that deck. I mean, that's not so bad. There are two plunders down there and an encampment, but I'll be bottom decking. Actually, these cards aren't that great. I will trigger the shuffle. Um, and take a duchy, I guess. Overlord, please. That's not good. Oh, well, there we go. I was not likely to find that plunder because I knew for sure the card on top wasn't a plunder. There were two down there. I wished for Overlord because if I managed to pick that up, I could play the Scavenger and then top deck a plunder. Okay, we're getting somewhere. Let's. Oh, here we go. Overlord can play an encampment. The interaction I was talking about finally came up. And kind of want to buy back that encampment. Man, I wish I had 10 money. Is there any reasonable way for me to get to 10 money here? I could just not play the altar. Maybe instead of gaining a duchy, I'll just gain the encampment this way. And then I can buy a province. I mean, basically, I just gotta hope that the bot misses 8 here twice, which is not super likely, but like, I don't know how else I'm winning. Not a great card to see. I'm not hitting 8. What I meant to say is the bot's gonna miss 8 here thrice. Can you miss one more time, two more times, bot? Lost an encampment. Now that's 8. Okay, yeah. My goose is cooked. Now what's my backup plan? Go for Crumbling Castle? We're gonna get the castles. I just miss 8 like 20 more times. Yeah, no. Well, I had a nice streak while it lasted. Let's run that back. Uh, at the moment, my odds of hitting 6 are 2 and 7. I don't discard this because I got a silver down there. If I, actually, it's a little bit lower than 2 and 7. If my silver is in the top 5 and my necropolis is in the bottom 2, I hit 6. I think my odds are better if I just top deck the silver and buy maybe a Humble Castle. Humble Castle Trashing Hovel is kind of like a poacher when you think about it. Unfortunately, we've hit 5 again. There we go. Okay. Things are looking up already. Let's go ahead and top deck a Charm, buy an altar. The bot, unfortunately, also got a very fast altar here. I'll take a second one and an Overlord. And it's bottom decked. Things are not looking up. I was just kidding. Things are still looking down. And it's collided with the only other terminal action card. Does the bot have 4 encampments already? Oh my lord. uh, I didn't even get one encampment play out of this Overlord before the encampments were gone. That's tragic. Uh, let's take the guaranteed draw. Probably could have played Mystic and wished for copper and gotten one more money out of it. But there was a chance that it missed. There we go. Okay, okay. The bot has whiffed twice on encampments. Unfortunately, am I wrong to say the plunders have now split 4-1? Or is it 3-2? It for sure lost the plunder split as well. That's no good. Guess we'll take another charm and a mystic. Uh, looking at 6 or 8 money, depending on how I choose to play the charm. Probably I should be going for provinces again for the same reason. Village sure would be handy here. Nope. Goodbye. Or encampment. These cards are below average quality, so I think I'm not going to discard the deck. I don't want to shuffle these back in. Oh boy. Oh no. Alright, well, the bot did me a solid and I repaid it. You got your encampment back. Unfortunately, there's one card too few in my deck for this Overlord to be played as a Bustling Village. I mean, I could play it as a Bustling Village, but it would trigger a shuffle. It draws a card first, and then it checks for Settlers. And by the time I am checking for Settlers, I've triggered a shuffle, and then I can't pick up any Settlers from my discard. Unfortunately. Missed it. Nope, Alter. Okay. Let's take another Bustling Village, I guess. I'll take a Beggar. We're late enough in the game that maybe that has some value. At least this is, what do you call it? This is 8 money. What card do I most want on top? So I'm thinking about Settlers, Bustling Village, and Beggar. Maybe I put the Beggar on top and play it early in the shuffle, and the Settlers can pick up the coppers later. Maybe I put Settlers on top, and then Bustling Village can pick that up later in the shuffle. Yeah, I only got one plunder. That would explain why I lost those encampments so quickly. Highly unfortunate. I'll just top take the Beggar. Well, not exactly where I wanted to see these. Obviously, you want to see the Bustling Villages later in the shuffle so they can pick up stuff that you found earlier in the shuffle. How does the bot have 46 points? Oh no. So I should buy the penultimate province, presumably. But even if I get the province and the bot just has like a total dud hand, there's no realistic way I'm hitting like 2 provinces and 2 duchies and God knows what else I would need. Um, Scavenger, deck and discard, top deck altar, wish for altar, play the beggar, trash a copper, gain a duchy. If I 2 duchies? And I need the game to end quickly. The longer it goes, the worse for me. So presumably I should buy this province. But I'm still behind by like 8 points. Buying the state. Yep, nope, that's the game. Let's try this again. I know I've complained about this on most kingdoms where this card shows up. But kingdoms where encampment as a pile is centralizing can be rather annoying, to say the least. Um, okay, well this is going a bit better. Turn 3 altar. Get to play it turn 4. Maybe I should trash the Necropolis. I don't think that has enough value for me. I'll go ahead and take a charm and an overlord. That was interesting. So the bot took the crumbling castle early, and then that revealed the small castle, and then played Overlord as a small castle, trashing the crumbling castle to gain the small castle. Do I want a second one of these? Possibly. I think yes, there's still 5 encampments in the pile. If I can play that as encampment even once or twice, I think it has justified itself. Take encampment now. Okay. Encampment. Deck and discard doesn't matter, it's already in the discard. Altar on top. And another encampment. Okay. Very happy the bot left an encampment in the pile. Is there a way for me to... I don't think so. I was trying to imagine a scenario where I managed to gain a plunder or a gold mid-turn and top deck it with scavenger, and I think that is a total pipe dream here, so I should just not play this encampment, I think. I'll gain an encampment. And should I buy that haunted castle? It comes with a gold. It attacks the bot, maybe? It's either that or plunder, and I think that's pretty close. Oh, Does that change things at all? I was gonna play the scavenger and buy plunder and top deck the gold. I think I'm still top decking the gold, but just buying the encampment now. Oh no! Dang it. My only target for the encampments. And I drew it with none of my like 4 different encampments. So I'm gonna have to waste an encampment here. Oh, that's not good either. Shoot. Can I draw an encampment? I needed the village effect so that I could top deck a plunder, and now my encampments have targets. There we go. I hope that was worth the cost. And this settlers. I had an encampment and an altar down there, so as long as I drew one card, I was 100% guaranteed to find the altar. Gain a plunder. And just 2 more plungers, I think. Uh, I can discard top deck a plunder. Guess I'll take Opulent Castle. I'm not sure about that. I now have a majority of the plunders and encampments, so it benefits me for the game to go longer. I need to rush the provinces this time. Well, how much do I care about hitting province? Probably not that much. I think I'd rather trash. Here, Mystic. Second altar. Pick up plunder. And I'll take a settlers and province. This is the problem with leaving an encampment in the pile. On top of they can steal one, their overlords also have great targets. They have repaid the favor very kindly. Alas, I couldn't find a charm. I would love to pick up both encampments. Probably at this stage I gotta buy Province or Grand Castle, though. Grand Castle is going to be equally many points. Well, I guess technically one more when you factor in that it's going to buff my Crumble Castle. Probably I prefer Grand Castle. It'll also be good if I get the King's Castle, which we shall see. All right. Encampment again. What else is down there? I got another plunder down there. Nope. I'll trash that. Gain an encampment. And am I hitting 10 here? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Yes, I am. So I probably just don't play the second altar. Actually, I could trash. Think about this. So I could play the charm for 2 money and then buy like King's Castle and a Settlers or King's Castle and a Beggar. Or I could just trash the charm. I could even regain the charm, but it would come with 1 point from Tomb. That's probably better. Let's take the free point. And his charm, yeah, I still want a charm. It is the only plus buy. But deck and discard, top deck a encampment, buy a province. Okay, Mystic, wish for encampment. Nope. I think I'm just gonna take 2 duchies here. This is actually gonna cost me points. The Haunted Castle is worth 2 on its own, but it buffs King's Castle by 2 and Humble Castle by 1. So I'm like losing 2 points by doing this. Um, but I'm lowering the piles a bunch for the big points lead. Yeah, the bot is thrown in the towel. I did not like this kingdom one bit. I think the game plan is incredibly obvious, but it's just also incredibly dependent on early shuffles that you just don't have control over. You got to hit 6 early, and then you just buy the encampments and plunders. And then I think winning the split's going to mean you win the game. Not always true. Like a lot of times, the average kingdom is strong enough that these cards are not centralizing. These cards in a weak kingdom, I think, just make for kind of a miserable game.